Initially, 2 weeks ago, when the protests started, we had a number of shopkeepers being unsatisfied with the fluctuation in the currency. They had peaceful demonstrations. The, there were no deaths or injuries or any violence. This was initially. Quickly, we had, just a couple of days after that, we had organized opposition, the monarchists that are based in the United States, using this protests to basically do a regime change operation. So this went beyond economic grievances. It became a tool by the monarchist, the former Shah's son. He visited Israel 2 times in the last year. I think this is a joint venture between him, Israelis, and Americans, basically trying to repeat Libya in Iran. As you remember, during the Arab Spring in 2011, we had peaceful demonstrations in Libya. The United States government at that time decided to arm some people in Libya. They started shooting at police. And then the United States started bombing Libya in the name of human rights. And we know what happened after that. Libya was disintegrated. It's separated into 3 pieces. And the situation of Libyan people is much worse today in comparison to what they had before the American regime change scheme. So it seems that the United States failing to achieve its goals during the 12-day war in June is basically trying its luck again with what they have been doing. Just a few hours ago, Trump asked Iranians to take over institutions. He has been threatening to attack Iran again. Last time, the excuse he had was Iran's nuclear program. Then he said that the nuclear program is totally finished. He needed another excuse for another attack. And I think he's trying to use what has been happening in Iran to find that excuse and attack Iran again. There's a difference between Iran and Libya. The government of Libya came to a military coup in the 1960s and didn't have much of a popular support. If you have watched videos coming from Iran, we had millions of people coming to the streets. Not everybody that came to the streets liked the government, but they certainly don't like their country to be bombed by Trump again. Last time we had over 1,200 civilians killed. People realized that Netanyahu just finished a genocide in Gaza, killing more than 70,000 people, mostly women and children. They realized that Netanyahu is not interested in human rights. They want to dominate the Middle East. Trump is interested in Iran's oil, the same way he is interested in Venezuela's oil. And this is basically a domination project. Iran has not been listening to the United States when it comes to its foreign policy. And they want to see if they can get rid of Iran's government by raising the flag of human rights. And nobody really believes Trump or Netanyahu are interested in human rights. Last time Iran was surprised. Iran was attacked in the middle of negotiations. But they were supposed to do the next round of negotiations in Oman. And then Iran was attacked 2 days before the next round. But this time, Iranians are not going to be surprised. I think the decision the Iranian government has made is to make the cost of attacking Iran high for the United States. So the discussion here is that the estimate is that at least 500 American soldiers will get killed if Iran is attacked again. We have about 50,000 American soldiers in the Middle East. There are 10 bases. They are, Iranian ballistic missiles can reach these bases. And I think the decision that the Iranian government has made is to respond in a serious manner this time because they realized it's not good for any country to be attacked in the manner that Iran was attacked in June. And they realize if they don't respond seriously, this type of attacks may get repeated, finding some excuse every time. You know, we have a reformist government in Dr. Pezeshkian. He ran as a reformist candidate. He actually has done a number of things to stabilize Iran's currency. There are some subsidies that are given for lower segments of society. So they have, and he has talked to a good number of union leaders, a good number of merchants that have been affected negatively. So dealing with economic issues is something that governments generally have to face. Dealing with Mossad, trying to do a regime change, is totally a different story. You know, people remember his father. His father was one of the most corrupt rulers of the 20th century. If you look at the reports of Amnesty International, Iran was number one in terms of political prisoners torture. He plundered Iran's money, and you know his son has been living off that money for the last 47 years since the revolution. So this was a very corrupt regime, very corrupt individual. You know, he was a puppet of the United States. Shah's father was a puppet of the British, and now the son is a puppet of Israel. So this is a family that is, they like to be puppets, it seems. And people know that. People of Iran know that. You know, Tehran has a population of over 10 million, and they managed to get about 3,000 people during the height of their efforts. A very tiny minority of people are interested in Shah. They can find a dozen or two people in different cities. They can, you know, make videos and send it to international media. But if you look at the crowds, at most 3,000, not more than that. And so he doesn't have support. In fact, he's doing a favor to the Iranian government because he is representing the opposition, and the opposition is someone who's asking Trump to attack his country. How can you be the king of a country and ask a foreign government to attack your country? It's just foolish, and that's what people in Iran believe he is. He's a spoiled child, has been out of the country for 47 years, and people remember what his father did to Iran. You know, we have had over 100 casualties in the police, you know, realizing that Trump is looking at, you know, trying to find an excuse to attack Iran. Iranian police initially was very careful to make sure that protesters, peaceful protesters, are doing their protest. But once they started shooting at police, and they did, throwing you know, bombs, handmade bombs, different types of bombs at police. You know, in India or United States or any country, when you shoot at police, they also have weapons. They may shoot back. And I was watching CNN yesterday and today. They're showing a footage of body bags, and they're claiming that these are the body bags belong to the protesters. It's the other. It's the reverse. These are the people who were killed by the rioters, Mossad linked rioters. There are lots of videos showing these people shooting at the police. And Western media outlets, unfortunately, are trying to find some excuse for Trump to attack Iran again. So whatever video they get out of Iran, they flip it 100%, and they say things that is totally false. You know, the internet works well inside Iran. There is a domestic, you know, we have the equivalent of WhatsApp. It's called ETA, Ballet. You know, these are local companies. I teach at University of Tehran. Our email works fine. Everything is fine. The only disconnect is the international internet. People generally don't have access to international internet. It comes and goes. I'm in Tehran talking to you, so sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not. And the reason they are restricting the internet is because last time during the 12-day war in June, at that time we also had Mossad agents using these uh, 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 local communication devices to link with their headquarters in Tel Aviv. So Iran's security forces, of course, having internet is nice. Having international internet is nice, but keeping people safe is nicer. So the decision has been to restrict internet uh, when it's necessary. It's not going to be easy. Both the United States and Israel have a strong military. They bombed Iran's defense structure last time, but Iran is not defenseless. Iran has lots of ballistic missiles. In the last 8 months since the June war, they have been trying to rebuild Iran's defense, and no one in Iran claims to be superior to United States when it comes to military devices. But this has been the history of colonized people fighting colonizers. Generally, they are weaker, but they are united, and they make sure to, create cost. And I think Iran will be able to kill at least 500 American soldiers if Iran is attacked again. Last time we had this rally around the flag effect. In fact, a lot of Iranian experts in the United States were warning the Trump administration that by attacking Iran, you're actually going to unite Iran. And this is what happened last time. This is what happened this time. You saw huge demonstrations. As I said, many people don't like some of government policies, but they don't want their country to be taken over by a foreign power. Most people don't like Trump in the United States. You can believe me that most Iranians don't like Trump. They're as they're like Americans, most Americans. So overall, although this is very costly, we have had over 1,200 civilians killed last time. If Trump attacks Iran again, he's threatening to do that every day. You're going to see more civilian deaths. But this is the situation we have. Iran has lots of oil, and this is how they have treated, they have put pressure on Iran since 1953. They had an American-British coup in 1953. They're trying to have another regime change operation in 2026. This time is an American-Israeli operation. As long as you have that level of popular support, not necessarily for the government, but opposition to Trump, as long as you have that, there's no whether it's Trump or Netanyahu or anyone else, you cannot really get away with their policy objectives as long as there's that level of unity in the country. And what Trump has done is, he has actually united Iranian people. I teach at University of Tehran. Our younger students, they're in their 20s, 30s. They never saw Shah's time. They were born after the revolution. Many of them ask why their parents and grandparents had the revolution. Now they realize. We have students coming to us and saying that, look, now I see why my parents looked at the United States in the manner they did. So Trump is actually doing a public service to younger people in Iran, showing the true face of the United States when it comes to Iran. Iran, as I said, was in the middle of negotiations. The operation that the United States did last time, they called it Midnight Hammer. They took that hammer, they smashed the negotiating table. Until a few days ago, they were telling Iran that Iran needs to have a limitation on its domestic ballistic missiles, 300 kilometers. So what the Americans basically are saying is that we may want to attack you again, but we want your ballistic missiles not to reach Israel, just fall somewhere in Iraq. if Iran limits its ballistic missiles, that's the range that they can hit. And this is not acceptable when a country is under attack by two nuclear weapon states, regimes. That country cannot be defenseless. The only thing that is useful for Iran's defense as we speak is these ballistic missiles. And they want to take that away from Iran. So no Iranian politician is going to be able to accept that. That would be a political suicide to do that. So they are not really serious about negotiations. Today, Trump is saying that he's cutting off those type of contacts as well, which is good news, because people realize that what he's planning to do is not in line with any level of negotiations. Neighboring countries can do a lot. I think Pakistan has been quite helpful. Last time they supported Iranians, and I think they will continue to do that. So having good neighbors obviously would be useful. You know, I'm talking to you in Tehran. I'm sitting outside. There is no protest. Tehran has been quiet for the last 3-4 nights. Occasionally in other cities, not in Tehran, we see people shooting at police. Domestic terrorism, basically, and many of these people have been arrested. So one reason Trump has sent the message today is to basically recreate the fire again, because the fire is being distinguished. This is why he doesn't want the fire to be distinguished. That's why he's sending these messages every other hour. I think, especially after the huge demonstrations yesterday, many people realized that having the Shah's son back in Iran is not going to solve any problem. If he comes back, he's going to repeat what his father did, which is being a puppet of the United States. I think Iran will disintegrate into different pieces. This is why they want someone like him, a weak person, so they can achieve their foreign policy goals.